Hi guys, my name is Michelle Mitchell and I'm from Elegance. I hope to inspire you today into why you should sew or what you should look out for, and hopefully have the enjoyment that I have with my sewing. There are many different reasons why people sew, and there's no right or wrong reason as to why you sew. Maybe you want to find something that's a little bit cheaper. You're sick of paying expensive prices. Not always going to happen when you sew, because you might fall in love with, or more often than not, you'll fall in love with a really beautiful fabric that might leave your pocket feeling a little bit sore, but you'll end up with a really beautiful garment and you'll be very, very proud of it. So there are many different types of fabrics you can buy, really, really cheap, really, really expensive. Sometimes you can make really, really cheap garments and be super proud of them. Other times you'll make really expensive garments and be super proud of them. The other thing is, don't be frightened if a project doesn't work. Sometimes you're going to want to throw the item that you're sewing across the room. Totally okay, just make sure no one's in the way. Be careful when you do that. If you have a bit of a tanty and you don't want to work on the project anymore, put it in the drawer for later, but schedule it in your diary. Make sure you go back. Sometimes you just get so over unpicking you just don't want to look at the garment anymore, and I can totally understand that, having done that many times over the years. But one thing I make a rule is I have to go back and finish that garment, because in each garment there is a lesson, and it doesn't matter how many times you sew, you will always learn something new, whether it's a different technique, whether it's a different fabric that you need to handle in a different way. There's always something new that you will find when you're sewing with a different fabric, different pattern, and for a different person. Say you get so advanced you don't want to sew for yourself anymore, you want to sew for other people. And if that's your passion, go for it. I really hope that I can help you, inspire you on your journey to sewing. So what I've got for you today is a few different items, very, very cheap, very, very expensive. So to show you what you can do, what you can't, what you can find, and what you'll find yourself doing. So for example, here's one dress, and here's another. These are both very, very cheap. They're made with, again, the exact same pattern, but totally different looking garments. One has got a bind on it, the other one doesn't. So this particular fabric, my father picked up for me in Dubai. He saw it and went, yeah, that looks like Michelle. I think she should have that. I think it set him back about $5, and I was very excited when he came home. So that's a very cheap dress. This one in particular, I went in looking for just a trim. I think it was a bit of elastic for something that I was making, and I ended up coming out with a bag full of fabric. I went to the offcuts table, which was a very big mistake, but much to my delight I ended up with a beautiful dress. This is a beautiful silk that was $30 because it was only an offcut. I bought the meter that was sitting on the table, and there we are. I've got a beautiful dress. So there's a $5 dress and a $30 dress. Now on the other end of the scale, late last year I was travelling to Europe and it was getting quite cold over there and I needed a jacket. Now I couldn't find anything that I liked in the market and I wanted something really warm. Living in Australia, it was quite difficult to find something warm at that time of year when I was travelling. So I ended up going into a fabric shop and finding the most divine fabric. It set me back a pretty penny. It was an Italian wool, so it did set me back about $300, and I also opted to put in a really nice bind to give it a really professional finish. I also have stitched down each seam to give it more of a manufactured look, a classy but manufactured look, so it didn't look like that I had made it. The only thing that you can tell that I have made it, particularly for those that are close to me or those that know me from my tutorials, I have polka dot lining once again. I am a big fan of polka dots and I have to have something that is a little bit like me. So you'll notice from my tutorials I've always got a scarf or something polka dot with me. So there you have it. It's quite a fun looking jacket with a nice belt. It's 1950s-60s style. Wasn't cheap, but it did the job and it was very, very warm. Another item that I can show you, which is quite a cheap one, I am going to a ball on the weekend and I took myself down to a local shop and I went, oh, I need something. Now I remembered that I had a petticoat in my cupboard, which a great girlfriend of mine is also a very good sewer, and she'd made an outfit for me just for a bit of fun, and I had a petticoat, so I thought, you know, 1950s, 60s style, let's go for something like that. So I've got the petticoat, I made up a circle skirt, and I've also put bodice together. The fabric in total cost me $60. So you can see this isn't quite finished yet, but it will be finished for this weekend, and that ball gown, which could cost from, say, $150 up, has cost me $60, so I'm pretty happy with that. So one end of the scale you can get away with something really cheap, and at the other end of the scale you'll have to buy something really expensive because you just fall in love with it and your heart just goes with it. Don't be frightened of it, go with it and let your inner designer create the most beautiful outfits for you. Cheers.